before Mr. Stroshine gets started. Please only, I'm respectfully asking that you use the chat only for questions about the class. Make sure your mic is muted. And if you have a question, type it in the chat. Please do not have conversations among yourselves in the chat. If you'd like to text each other, absolutely fine. But just let's leave the chat only for that. This is also being recorded, and anything inappropriate, you will be booted from the meeting. So just want to be upfront and clear about that. It actually is great to see your faces. I watched some meetings yesterday, and I don't know, some of you I was in the band and some of the others, and your teachers have missed you, I think, as much as some of you have missed your teachers. And so we're really happy. And also some of you here that I recognize were part of the committee that helped hire Mr. Stroshine. So we did have students who were there and gave input, and he got the total thumbs up for this job. So we're really excited to have him, and I think you're really going to enjoy him. So, Mr. Stroshine, it's all yours.
Thank you. All right. Hi, everyone. Like Mr. Costa was saying, I am Mr. Stroshine. Here, I'll go to the next little slide here. He already went through everything as far as the guidelines go just for this meeting today. If I just ask one more thing, if you're on camera, just make sure that you're not like super distracting. Like don't be doing weird faces or like showing off pets. Even though I might ask at the end to see if you have like a dog nearby because I love dogs. This is me. I am Mr. Stroshine. This term 1. I'm teaching Acting 1, Acting 2, and Directing as far as the theater world goes. If any of you are in the IB world, I'm also teaching TOK. My email is right there for you guys. It'll also appear at the end of the presentation, so you guys can always reach out to me there. Before I even begin the meeting about classes, I just wanted to kind of let you guys know a little bit about who I am. I graduated from Portland State University, and that's where I got my bachelor's in theater. And then I went to University of Portland, where I got my master's degree in teaching theater. I'm originally from a really small town in Idaho called American Falls. It's about 4,000 people. My graduating class had 92 kids in it. So your school is almost over a quarter of what my whole hometown was. So that's always a fun little thing. A lot of people always ask me, since we're talking about theater, what my favorite show is. It is Aida. If you haven't listened to it or watched it yet, please find a bootleg on YouTube or listen to it. It's great. I love it. On the bottom, those are my 2 dogs. Roxy's on the left and Roscoe is on the right. I just moved twice in the past month. And so they are actually staying with my old roommates. So I only get to see them once a week, which makes my heart sad. Hence why I might ask to see your dogs at the end. But I love them. They're like my little children. And then on the top, not only am I the teacher here at Rex Putnam, but I am also on the judges coordination. I'm the head for judges coordination for regionals competition. So if you guys are doing thespians, I will coordinate the judges for that and hopefully get some really good judges and some really fair judging this year, because we all know what it's like to have a really crappy ballot. So I am on the committee for that this year as well. So that's a little bit about me. As the term goes on, you guys will grow to love me, I'm sure. So this year, it's interesting how our classes, you guys know that they're stacked. So Acting 1, Acting 2, and Directing all happen at the same time. But your Google Classrooms aren't set up the same way they would if we were in a real setting. Because of the way that it's stacked, you're going to have separate classes. So those of you who are in Acting 1 are going to see a Google Classroom specifically for Acting 1. If you're in Acting 2, same thing. And if you're in Directing, you'll have your own Google Classroom. Within that Google Classroom, you'll have a link for a Google Meet like this. And everyone, Acting 1, 2, and Directing, are going to meet together at the beginning of all of our synchronous learning. There'll be a link in the classroom. If you haven't already jumped on, it's already there. You guys can kind of see what the layout of the classroom looks like. And those are how we're going to meet in the mornings. We'll then break off into our own classes as the term goes on, where I'll have smaller groups for just directing, just acting 2, and just acting 1. But every day we'll start as one big classroom, even though you won't see the other classes on the actual Google Classroom itself. So what's the expectations and what can you guys expect from the synchronous learning aspect of the theater classes? A lot of it is going to be group bonding. A lot of it is going to be simply getting on a Google Meet and seeing each other's faces, still playing theater games, finding a connection, making sure that we still feel like we're able to be one family as far as the theater department goes. We'll also be having group discussions and rehearsals with materials. Just because we're online doesn't mean that we're not going to be able to act and do fun projects and rehearsals. And that is when we'll kind of break off into our smaller groups. Directors, you'll be able to go in and out of acting 1 and acting 2 to help them out with their pieces. Acting 1 and acting 2, you'll be doing solo scenes, duo scenes, maybe some group scenes even. And that'll be in some smaller Google Meets as well. The number one thing for synchronous learning is to show up, be prepared, and we're going to have a lot of fun together. I know this isn't the ideal theater class, right? We kind of all miss being on that stage, but we're still going to be able to do a lot of fun things and create something brand new. So I'm really looking at this as an opportunity to create something brand new together. Since I'm new, you guys are new to me. Some of you are going to be new to the class. It's a really great opportunity for us to kind of start fresh and create some new memories and some new traditions. As far as asynchronous learning, that's going to be towards, if you've seen your schedules, towards the end of the day. Asynchronous, meaning that you're going to do it on your own, that's going to be always posted in the classroom. I'll post materials for you guys, and I'll make sure that you know what materials you should be looking at and working with at the end of every synchronous meeting. And on the asynchronous learning, that's going to be kind of your readings, maybe watching some movies of recorded plays or some YouTube clips I need you guys to watch. Video recordings, writing prompts. You'll do your like small group writing, maybe some playwriting asynchronously. And that's so that when we actually do our synchronous learning, we can actually work with the material that I'm giving you guys. And we don't have to kind of sit and just stare at each other while we're watching the same clip. We can do it in our beds at 9 p.m. when we're getting ready to go and wind down for the night. We can throw in, you know, the YouTube video of Thoroughly Modern Millie or whatever it is. Asynchronous work needs to always be completed before we do our synchronous learning. So if it's reading a script or reading a one act or something, you do need to come prepared with that reading so that we can actually work with it as we're, you know, together in our online groups. Does anyone have any questions about synchronous or asynchronous learning? You can either unmute yourself and ask, or you can pop it in the chat. And I have the chat open so I can read that as we go.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
Will directing, like, will we actually be working with the other acting classes, or will we be doing our other stuff?
Great question. You'll be doing a little bit of both. So I'll have materials for you to work with to actually learn a little bit more and dive deeper into directing itself. And then you will be jumping in with the acting classes and helping them out and actually directing some of their pieces throughout the course as well. So you get to see the model of, okay, well, what is good directing? What are best practices? And then you'll actually get to put those into use and help acting 1 and acting 2 through those small breakout rooms during synchronous learning.
I have a question.
Yeah, Noah.
What will Stagecraft look like?
Stagecraft, great question. So Stagecraft is happening next term in term 2. And what that will be is it's going to be a lot of design work and a lot of understanding the ins and outs of what goes into the process of Stagecraft rather than just hands-on building. I'm going to work with the TD from before that you guys have known and loved from your shows and create some curriculum and create some ideas to help you guys out so you still get that kind of hands-on idea. I mean, we're not going to be building crazy big sets this year, it doesn't sound like, but we're still going to be able to do things like set design, costume design, makeup design. I'm going to be hopefully creating some little packages for you guys that are in Stagecraft and sending them out in term 2. So you'll have some materials that you can actually create things with and have some hands-on time as well. Summer asks, will we need a notebook? Throughout the term, I may ask you to grab a piece of paper and draw something or write something for me. But almost everything that I ask you to do that's going to be outside of the virtual world is going to be acting and performance-based. So I'm not going to ever ask you to have all of these materials just kind of on a whim. And if I do need you to have something, I'll let you know far ahead of time, as well as anything that's like a costume piece for an acting piece that you're doing or anything like that, or a prop. That's all going to be optional for you. Anything that's kind of laying around your house will work. Any other questions? These are great questions, y'all. Okay. So after school, I know that's probably one of the biggest questions for all of you who have been a part of the theater department before, and maybe even some of you who are fresh to the theater department. I still plan on having after school club. I've met with the council multiple times. I know there's at least 3 of you from council on here, and we've worked together already this summer to create ideas and to kind of cultivate what we would like this year to look like, so that we still feel like we are a theater family and that we still are connected as a troupe. So things that we've kind of come up with and that I'm working on getting going for y'all. We'll still have thespian meetings. They'll be virtual, but we'll still have those. We'll still be able to play some games and things. We'll do virtual theater pieces that we'll be able to stream or record and get out to the public. I'm really excited. I've been working with some other schools about maybe doing some devised work, meaning that y'all would write your own pieces and we can perform them as a troupe. And then that creates like a show of our own. And so it's something that you're working on your playwriting skills. So maybe if you're not an actor and you'd rather just do a playwriting thing, or if you're an actor but you're struggling with the writing aspect, we can do both. And it's kind of like a troupe combined performance. As of right now, Oregon Thespians is still planning to do regionals competition. It'll look a little bit different this year, and we don't have all the guidelines of what that's going to look like. It's looking more and more like we're going to narrow down the categories this year. Like large group musical, small group musical may not be on the ballots this year, but we'll still do.
Yay, cool.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Maybe I hope he comes back.
Oh, he really disappeared.
I hope he comes back too.
I know. I miss him already.
Hey, Mr. Costa, can I just say something really quick about that?
About
I was gonna ask Mr. Sternstein about like what a thespian is for people who don't know what it is. He's back. I'll ask him
Okay.
when he. Never mind.
I was one in high school.
I am one, but for other people that
You're on mute,
don't
sir.
know, you know.
Okay. Hi, Elizabeth. What were you saying? Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna ask you to like explain what a thespian is for people who don't know what it is.
Sure. So for anyone who's new to the theater, thespian, when we're talking about thespians or we're talking about really anything, a thespian means that you're an actor or you're in the acting world. But Thespian and Oregon Thespians, it's our organization that you can be a part of. You earn points, you get perks and rewards for it. They are the ones who put on the regionals and state competitions, as well as the international festival that happens during the summer. I know they did a virtual one last year. They'll probably end up doing a virtual one this year. And so they're kind of the organization that we buy into and that we are a part of. I know that our council just did Camp Thespis, which was a leadership summit, so that they could go and learn what does it mean to be a leader for you guys, and get some good ideas to help you guys out and be kind of your voice for the year. Let me go ahead. Let me get back on my presentation here. Okay. So with the That's the regional competition. So also something that I know council was really excited about was making sure that we were able to do a showcase this year, showcasing all of y'all's talent, whether that be something from regionals last year, something that you're preparing in class, or something outside of class that you're excited about. So I still plan on doing a regional showcase for you guys. Anything that you prepare, I think it's important to make sure that other people get to view it. And then lastly, for juniors and seniors, there are still going to be college auditions. I know there's actually, there's a meeting going on right now for Unifieds. So if you have any questions or you're planning on going to college for the arts, please get in contact with me as soon as possible. And we can get your audition kind of rolling, and I can give you some of the inside dish about what college auditions are going to look like this year. Does anyone have any questions about the after school program? Either jump on or just in the chat and I can answer it. Okay. All right, and that was everything that I needed to go over with you guys. I will go over more actually when we're in class together. Once again, there's my email if you ever have any questions. It's the best way to reach me. It even links and syncs up to my phone. So if you're in a panic and something's happening and you need to get a hold of me at 8 p.m., just shoot me an email and it'll pop up and I can answer your panic questions. I have a question in the chat. How does College Stuff work for the Stagecraft department? Great question. So they are still planning here. I'm going to end my presentation. They are still planning on having the tech auditions for the college level. They haven't gone through everything. Like I said, they're having a meeting right now on the new platform. They are going to use StreamYard this year. And so they're still going through all of the ins and outs of what's going to be required of you for you to submit your application. I'm assuming what it's going to be is it's going to be a digital version of a portfolio instead of like a hard copy or anything like that. I don't know if they're going to make you do a presentation at all, but I'll have more information on that within probably the next 2 or 3 weeks. And I'll post all that information on the classroom as well. Summer, I hope you're okay. I hope everyone's okay, by the way. I know that some of you are living pretty close to the evacuation zones right now. So my heart's out to you guys and thinking about you guys. Does anyone else have any other questions? It's good to see some familiar faces. I know some of y'all. How do you plan on addressing the regional pieces? Are you going to work with students or have directors lead students? Great question. I am a firm believer that regionals and thespian material should be student driven and student picked. So I prefer that if you can find something yourself that you really connect with, that's what's always going to be the best for you. Obviously I have to check off on everything. There's certain things I won't let you do. But there are a lot of things I'm pretty open. If you want to do it, I'm totally fine with it. And then the student-led directors, they're there to really help you and boost up your scenes. So they'll be doing the majority of the work as far as like coaching and directing goes. But I'll be there to help you out and, you know, find you pieces if you need and do that extra coaching. So we'll kind of, when it gets closer to regionals, what will happen is we'll create Google Meets for competition, and we can we'll figure out what works for everyone. I know people work and things, but we'll create a schedule where, okay, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays are going to be regionals prep. You can pop into the room anytime, or we can do a scheduled thing where you're there from 3:30 until 4, and we can work one-on-one or have the director as well working together as a group to get your pieces moving and going. Braden, great question. Duncan, can you mute yourself, please?
So this could be one of the, like, mute them instances. Please mute them. Move through this.
And can you mute them for me, please? Thank you. The recordings in class on the Google Classroom, I've already created 2 platforms. You'll see 2, oh my goodness, what are they called on Classroom? Like subject lines. So you'll see one is the synchronous meetings. So at the end of the day, I will post the videos on the synchronous meetings in the Google Classroom. And then you'll see asynchronous materials. So that's kind of how they'll be posted so that you can always go back and watch any of the synchronous meetings. It'll be in the actual Google Classroom itself. Any other questions, y'all? How many of you are in, this is like your first year in theater and you kind of don't know what to expect, but you're kind of excited, but you're a little scared. How many of you are brand new to theater? You can put something into the chat box, just so I can see how many of you are brand new. 1. Woohoo! Oh, heck yeah. Oh my gosh, there's so many of you. That's so awesome. Heck yeah. Stagecraft counts? Heck yeah, it does. It's one of the most important parts. All right, all right. Okay, now how many of you are like seasoned vets, have done theater at least 1 year, and are super excited to do this and like are my group leaders? Put something in the chat. Put a smiley face, put a heck yeah, put something for me. 3rd year, heck yeah, 3rd year. Look at all those 3rd years. Woo! 2nd year, 4th year, heck yeah, represent that senior class. Awesome. Okay, you've done theater elsewhere, but you're new to the school. Serena, so many years. I love it. So many of you are juniors. That's awesome. Well, great. So it's good to kind of see where y'all are at on this. I know that this is a crazy year, y'all, and I know it's even weirder that Marchant is gone, but I am here to be the voice for you guys. And student voice is super, super important to me. So like I said, reach out to me anytime on email, and I'll gladly be there to listen. Oh, is there a new classroom code for this year or the same as last year? It's new for this year. You should already be auto-populated into the Google Classroom for this year. If you go into Google Classroom and you still see yourself in last year's, you can either unenroll or you can like archive that class. And so, because we won't be using the old Google Classroom. They're all new for this year. Will Brent be with us? Like I said, I'm going to contact him and hopefully get him in when Stagecraft happens next term, and get him into some of the Google Meets and kind of brainstorm and work alongside him for any ideas that he may have to be able to do virtual Stagecraft, because I know he's an awesome resource and I know you guys love him. Great, well, we have a Thespian Google Classroom. I'm not 100% sure if you had one before. Can I get a yes or no, just a head nod? Yes, then yes. I love Google Classroom for Thespians and as a troupe. So we will continue to use that. I think it's a great resource. So we can have the resources for regionals, for anything like that, will be posted in that Google Classroom as well. And that's where you'll get your updates, also with Instagram and the Facebook page and stuff. Y'all have really great questions. Any other questions? Okay, last little thing I want you to put in the chat. I want you to put your all-time favorite play or musical in the chat so that I can see. And keep in mind, I'm going to be judging your answer so harshly. Go. Okay, Sunday in the Park with George. I see you. All right, great comment. Dressy Chaperone. Oh, I love the drummer. Shia LaBeouf live. Great. Hamilton, Hamilton, Hamilton. I saw Mean Girls opening week on Broadway. It was amazing. Into the Woods. I love Into the Woods. In the Heights. Y'all, when I saw the preview for In the Heights, the movie, for the first time, I was sitting in a movie theater and I started crying and I was like, this is pathetic. I'm not super into musicals, but Sweeney Todd, heck yeah. Hamilton, lots of Hamiltons. Falsettos. Into the Woods with lots of exclamation points. Also Into the Woods. If you guys have Broadway HD, you need to watch the London production. They're literally in a park, and it's like it's insanity. It's really weird. Phantom of the Opera, The Theory of Relativity. Sunny, whoever you are out there, I saw Hedwig when I was in San Francisco with Darren Criss, and experiences to say the least, because that's a lot to watch. In the Heights, heck yeah. All right, y'all have really good taste. Heather's great. Shrek the Musical. Thank you, Elizabeth, for putting that in the group chat. School of Rock. Company. One of my favorite actresses is Patti LuPone. My best friend hates her, and I think she's the greatest person ever. Oliver, great. All right, well, none of you put like my least favorite musicals into the chat, so I stand with you guys because y'all are great. Bandstand, heck yeah. Lead Me Itinerary, y'all just did that. My least favorite musicals. I have a few. High School Musical is terrible. And I would also, let's see. I really don't like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And what other ones? Honestly, anything with little kids in it really annoys me a lot. Matilda has grown on me, and I actually really love Matilda now. But at first, I absolutely thought it was horrendous. Some Peter Pans are okay. When I was like maybe in 5th grade, my high school did a Peter Pan, and they couldn't use a fly system, so they were just like running around the stage, and it was a mess. It was a hot mess. I went to a very, very like low-funded school, so we didn't have any money to do theater. So our sets were prime. Wait, do you despise Annie? It's good. There's some great songs. Would I choose to watch it in its entirety? I don't know. You could talk me into it. If y'all wanted to do it, you could talk me into it. Matilda was the first live Broadway show? Okay, that's great. I saw Jesuit High School's version of it a couple years ago, and it was pretty good. It is great nostalgia, Connor. Stinky children. Newsies. Oh, that's great. Annie is a hard knock in the face. I agree. Y'all, you guys are great. You know, okay, Serena, Annie, Hard Knock Life, is always going to be a jam. And I will say, Easy Street, I mean, that is so jazzy and fun. If anyone ever wants to do that as a small group musical for thespians, I would always say yes. Great. Okay, do you guys have any other questions? Do you guys have any questions for me? You can throw it in the chat, or you can ask me anything. Also, y'all's president and me are both drinking a Dr. Pepper right now, so like we're already connected. Cheers on that, Elizabeth.
I'm drinking Coca-Cola.
Oh, dang it! That's fine. I also enjoy Coca-Cola.
It's okay. It's red. So.
My summer, I moved twice, and it was hectic and crazy. And now I am really worried for all my friends who live out and around. So it's been 2020, y'all. What got me into theater? My friend, when I was in 5th grade, dragged me to an audition, and I didn't want to do it at all. My audition piece was a Shel Silverstein poem about a girl eating a whale. I played Jiminy Cricket, and I was like, it was a one act. I had maybe 6 lines in the whole show. I memorized every single part of that play because I had anxiety. What was stagecraft stuff covered in this meeting? Yes, Walter, it was. But we'll post this recording later on. But to answer your question, Stagecraft is happening next term. We will be doing a lot of design work, and I'm still hopefully going to be working with Brent to get y'all excited and still being able to work on some Stagecraft stuff. What's my dream role? Velma Kelly in Chicago. What's your opinion on Sondheim? I love Sondheim. I love almost every show that he's ever done. His music is really difficult, but it's genius. Can I pick myself? I think of myself as a celebrity, so I'm going to pick myself because you got to love yourself before you love anybody else. Are any of the acting classes year-long classes? I honestly don't know the full answer on that. Do you have the answer on that, Mr. Costa?
Yeah, they are. They just may not be consecutive quarters.
Great. So
But all of
it'll be
your,
sorry, go ahead. It will be like term 1 and term 3, and then term 2, term
yeah,
4.
potentially, yeah. They may not be. They probably won't be back to back.
Great. So if you guys aren't aware on how that's working, a lot of year-long courses this year are going to be, if you're in term 1, which starts on Monday, you'll go 9 weeks, and then you'll go to your term 2, and then you'll come back to those year-long classes in term 3. That's how a lot of them are happening. If we have an in-person events, will there be work parties? So when we are able to do in-person stuff again, Dawson, absolutely. I love work parties. I think they're the best time to bond. I also think it's when you get the most work done. So when we are able to do another show in person, we'll definitely do work parties. I usually like to do them on Saturday. I typically bring breakfast. It works out. It's fun. Natalie, I feel the same way. Yes, Walter. All right, y'all. Is there any other questions for me or about the classes?